Hi, welcome back to Food Related. In today's video, we're going to be talking about our simple irrigation system that's watering some of our food forest. So I had a few questions recently about how we were watering the food forest. As you can see behind me, we've got a 1,000 litre IBC tank, and I've actually chosen only to water a few specific plants, namely our avocados, just for when they're getting started, because they require a bit of moisture here and there, and it's quite dry our summer, so we need to make sure they've got a consistent water supply just while they're young, probably with only in maybe the first 1 or 2 years, and then we'll probably take the irrigation out. So I'm going to talk you through how this irrigation works. It's so simple, anyone can do it. So as I take you past the papaya, we just see the simple 1,000 litre tank. As you can see, our fence is at a slight angle because if I pan round, the whole food forest slopes down this way. There's not much of an incline, but there's enough for it to be gravity fed. So to start off with, you'll be able to see underneath, I've got a bit of a frame which I built a few years ago, and that's just giving us a bit of height for the water tank. And I've got this really simple timer. So it's an Aqualin timer, and the important thing about this timer is that it is not driven by water pressure. So some timers you're going to get are driven by water pressure. This one is not. So this is basically a switch, and you can see I've got frequency on this side and runtime on this side, and at the moment I've got it set on a 6-hour frequency running for 20 minutes every 6 hours. So not a whole lot of water, but enough to give our lovely avocados a really good head start. So I've got some grafted Hass avocados here, and they are absolutely pumping. Got 1, 2, 3 and 4 different avocado trees there, and they're really going well with that irrigation. So these tanks are commonly used in like all kinds of industry. This one we got years ago. It was really cheap. It was like $20, and the only bits I really had to buy was this adjuster here, this kind of tapering down to 90mm fitting. And as you can see here, I've just got a bog standard hose, an old bit of hose, because I didn't have any proper irrigation pipe that would fit it at the time, and the hose just runs along to our avocados. And if you can see down here, there's a dripper valve, and that gives us a bit of control over how much water we're actually letting out. And before I put those drippers in, I actually tested the hose. So I took it all the way down the bottom where we were going to irrigate to, just to check that the flow was all right for our avocado that was all the way down here, and it was fine. So with those 4 drippers, that controls the flow, and all I've done is just push those drippers into the hose pipe. So if I come in here, and you can see here, they just push in really simply. So I was looking for the most simple system that I could, and that's been working out really well. So the cool thing about this timer is that, number one, it's got a valve which just switches over by battery. Okay, so it's not pressure driven. It doesn't need water pressure from the tank to actually drive the opening of the valve. It's all done by battery. And the other second cool thing is these batteries, I put this in 8 months ago and it's still going, probably because I haven't got it on a really high frequency, because it's only like once every 6 hours, but they say on average the battery life is about 6 months. So I'm going 8 months, batteries are still going strong, just 2 AA batteries, rechargeable of course. We've got solar, that makes sense. So it's really simple. This timer cost us about $40 Kiwi. So what's that? Maybe $30 US. So it's a really cheap timer, and I know you can get them on Amazon. Now, one of the reasons I only chose to do the avocados was the other fruit trees in the food forest, I really want them to drive their roots down nice and deep. So we've got some deciduous fruit trees on the far side and a few nut trees on this side, and I really want them to naturally drive their roots down nice and deep into our quite free draining volcanic soil, so that in our summers, which for the last 3 or 4 have been pretty drought ridden, that they're going to survive our hot summers in the future. I don't want to water them constantly and give them a shallow root bowl. I really want them to tap their roots down as deep as possible. So if you're thinking about putting your own irrigation system in and you've got the ability to put in a gravity fed system, I'd highly recommend something like this. It's super simple, anyone can do it. You need little to no tools or experience, and there's heaps of other videos about gravity fed irrigation. I just wanted to share this because it was so simple. The whole setup I think took me about 15 minutes to set this up. In future I may end up irrigating our berry patch because they do require some water, and at the moment we are in a hot spell, so I am spot watering a few plants that require it just because they haven't been in the ground that long. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up, really helps the channel out, and if you've got any questions about the irrigation system, leave them in the comment section below and I'll answer them as best I can.